Star Wars and Harry Potter are two franchises that I grew up on as a child, whether it was me enjoying their movies or playing their Lego games as a kid. And with the new HBO series of Harry Potter coming out, I figured what better time than now to do a fight between He Who Shall Not Be Named and the Dark Lord of the Sith. Both are amazing villains from their respective series, with one being a menace whose presence intimidated the entire galaxy and even those who watched him, and the other not so much. Now, I do want to say that I have unfortunately not read the books for Harry Potter quite yet, so this will be limited to the movie version of Voldemort, which means I'll be limiting Vader to his canon version without any of the novels, since I really haven't read those as well. Maybe when I finish the Harry Potter books I can come back to this, but I can say with confidence I don't think I'll be able to read all those Star Wars books. Apparently even the canon version has like 100 of those fuckers. Starting off with Voldemort, believe it or not, one of the best feats in the entire franchise either belongs to him or Credence. Voldemort using the Elder Wand lit up the entire sky, and he also destroyed the entire barrier that surrounded Hogwarts in one shot when even thousands of spells from Death Eaters could not before. And he scales above Credence, who literally blasted a good chunk of a mountain to pieces. And I don't suggest using an AI to use your calculations, but I forced ChatGPT to become my calculation slave and said this was around town level. Which sounds pretty fair, I guess. Regardless, it's very impressive. And technically speaking, when he performed this feat, Voldemort was being rejected by the Elder Wand. And previously, without the Elder Wand, he was battling Dumbledore, who had the Elder Wand at the time, and seemed pretty close to him. Though I would say I would give the edge to Dumbledore because he was winning and protecting Harry at the same time, but it was enough to show that they were in the same ballpark. Plus, that gap probably closed when he got the Elder Wand himself. Not to mention the shield he destroyed engulfed the entirety of Hogwarts, and that was pretty fucking massive. I don't think I can answer how durable that shield was, but the size of it was impressive alone. And it was clearly the best feat we've seen in the franchise. Unfortunately, speed I really can't say for Voldemort. Most Harry Potter characters do have interesting spells that they use which could be comparable to even light if you want to go that route, but we can't really scale this to their physical speed. If anything, there seems to be contradictions of these speeds in the movies. But he should be quite fast with his use of flight. And his reaction to speed is most likely superhuman. It's at least peak human if we're being honest. Just can't really say by how much from what we have actually seen. He can create massive snakes made of fire, create massive shockwaves when fighting Dumbledore, reflect spells, use telepathy, and actually he's one of the best characters for that as well, considering he can attack people's minds mid-battle, and he can make weird-ass tendrils come out of his clothes to attack people. The more notable stuff he uses in battle is his torture curse and the killing curse of Avada Kedavra. He also has a type of immortality thanks to his splitting his soul into many pieces and separating them via the Horcruxes, making it damn near impossible to kill him. Also, funnily enough, he can actually throw things at people, kind of like Vader can with the Force. Vader, on the other hand, has quite a bit more to work with. He should be physically stronger than Voldemort, considering he can fight giant monsters who are massively bigger than him, and he's also taking a beating from Chewbacca, who's pretty strong himself. He can survive lightsaber strikes, so he has survived a massive explosion in Star Wars Rebels, which should at least be comparable to the feat that Voldemort performed. And I seriously doubt that Vader wouldn't be able to fight after that massive explosion as well, considering he's been in more damaged states and able to fight in other series. With the Force, he is able to cave in the ground and crush AT-ATs. He can also stop ships capable of space travel and is comparable to Yoda, who stopped a living mountain. A feat I also feel is somewhat underrated is when he stopped massive amounts of water coming in on him in Fallen Order, and while we don't know the exact amounts, the water pressure must have been quite heavy. His body is also made of machinery for the most part, which means if Voldemort hits him with a killing curse in an area that's not actually human, it may not actually kill him. The real issue is his speed and future sight. Vader should already be fast due to his being able to react to multiple blaster bolts coming from numerous areas at the same time, and he should also be comparable to characters who can react to Force Lightning. Now, saying Force Lightning is faster than regular lightning inherently is kind of questionable in my opinion, but it's better than anything I can think for Voldemort. Not just that, but every trained Force sensitive can amp their speed using the Force. And Vader often uses precognition when fighting his opponents, being able to predict their every move. Now, like I said, I think Vader has better strength and overall speed. So if he gets in really close, it could be an issue for Voldemort. However, Voldemort really did have a monstrous feat when he destroyed the entire barrier surrounding Hogwarts, which I do think is at least comparable to the massive explosion Vader survived in Rebels. And that explosion for sure did a lot of damage to Vader. If it was normal spells, I don't think it could do much to him, seeing how Vader could arguably block it with his lightsaber or even his hand like he does the blaster bolts. But the issue is, if he gets hit by that massive blast, it will fuck him up. Or just straight up kill him, considering the Killing Curse is a magical spell that should outright kill anyone it comes in contact with. And I don't think we've ever seen anything suggesting that Vader can resist that. Though if you think it doesn't kill him in one shot, it is good to mention that Voldemort can't use this power too much, as the Elder One was resisting him and almost destroyed itself immediately. Crazy part is, I don't even think he'll get to that. For one, Voldemort is extremely arrogant and often prefers to play with his opponents and torture them, and most likely won't go in for the kill immediately. Whereas Vader is more cold and calculated after his first mistake. Not just that, but Vader using precognition could just see he needs to not take that kind of fighting style with Voldemort to begin with, and you can probably see how powerful the spell can be. That's assuming the fight even gets that far though, as Vader could just crush him with the Force. Vader also in character uses the Force to fight people, so it's not really far-fetched to say that. And the fight starts off with Voldemort talking shit like he normally does, and throwing spells normally. Vader could just fight through and cut his head off with the lightsaber, which is basically just a blade of plasma. There's no way in hell Voldemort's taking hits from those. And while Voldemort is technically immortal thanks to the Horcruxes, there's nothing suggesting he can actually handle being beheaded or cut in half. He originally got decimated by the protection charm placed on Harry by his mother, and it took him over a decade to come back. This means he most likely can't heal his body like a mad lad. So if I had to choose a winner, I would personally side with Vader. Like I said, when I finish reading the books for Harry Potter, I may come back to this debate, especially since May the 4th is coming. And if it's not that interesting, I'll come up with a different May the 4th video. But as far as I'm concerned right now, Darth Vader remains the Lord of the Sith, whereas Voldemort remains he without a nose. Also, some of these memes are fucking horrifying. I was originally going to do Darth Sidious versus Voldemort, but I thought killing one bald guy was enough for the old bastard.